right, are you there, Amber? All right, do we have you, Amber?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. So this is the Mendocino County Subdivision Committee for May 14th, 2020. I'm Russ Ford with Planning and Building Services.
Vladimir Gurielik with Environmental Health.
Amber Fissette, Department of Transportation. Sorry.
Yeah, so this is our first virtual meeting ever, so bear with us. All right, so agenda item 2A, boundary line adjustment 2020-0004 for Souza Properties LLC, agent is Munsell Civil Engineering. Boundary line adjustment to reconfigure the boundaries between two existing lots, 2.2 miles northeast of Ukiah City Center on the west side of Brennemeyer Road. So let's start with Rad.
Yeah, so EH don't have any additional conditions on.
Amber?
DOT has no comments.
Okay, and planning is just recommending standard conditions. Oh, I forgot to ask, is there anybody here representing the application? I think we have one guest here. Okay, can I get a motion?
Aye.
Can I get a better motion?
I don't know what to say to the.
I can do motions. I move to approve boundary line adjustment 2020-04 with standard conditions.
Aye.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amber.
You're welcome.
Okay, agenda item 2B, boundary line adjustment 2020-0005 for Richard and Pamela Parrish. Boundary line adjustment to merge three existing lots, 2.8 miles northwest of Willits in Brook Trails Township, lying on the south side of Primrose Drive. Is there anybody here representing this application? No. Okay, environmental health.
So on our side, we would like to have like a letter from Brook Trails Public Water District that they are allowing this merge.
Okay.
Because they're losing like two connections, maybe. So
Are there existing connections?
there are empty lots, so I don't know if they planned or no. I don't. So for our side, we just want to include the Brook Trails Public Water District. That they know that the merge is gonna happen.
Okay. I'm just gonna write that as letter of consent from Brook Trails Water. Is that part of the community services district?
Yeah, yeah.
Brook Trails, yes. Okay. Okay, Amber?
DOT has no comment.
And planning is recommending, it says standard conditions, but we should do the merger condition as well. Okay, so we have two special conditions. One is a letter of consent from Brook Trails Community Services District, and the second is the text B shown on the deed indicating this is a voluntary merger of parcels. So can I get
that's 7 and 8, is that
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Okay. I move to approve boundary line adjustment 2020-05 with standard or special conditions number 7 and 8.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. So special conditions are 6 and 7.
7 and 8. Okay, agenda item 2C, boundary line adjustment B 2020-0006 for Alec Rohrbaugh. Agent is Ron Franz. Request is a boundary line adjustment to reconfigure the boundaries between two existing lots, 2.6 miles south of Hopland on the west side of Highway 101. So is there anyone here representing this application? Is everybody unmuted? Okay.
If they've muted themselves, I can't unmute.
We haven't administrated unmuted.
No, I have not muted anyone.
Okay, PH.
We don't have any conditions for this.
Transportation,
No comments.
and planning is recommending standard conditions.
I move to approve boundary line adjustment 2020-06 with standard conditions.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item 2D, boundary line adjustment B 2020-0007 for Rodrigo Josephine Vargas, Ada Maria Vargas Hunter, and Juan and Sylvia Jimenez. Applicant is Rodrigo Josephine Vargas, agent is Ron Franz. Boundary line adjustment to reconfigure the boundary between four lots, 2.8 miles northeast of Ukiah on the west side of Western Place. So is there anybody here representing this application? Environmental health.
We don't have any comments for this application.
Okay. Transportation.
No comments.
And planning is recommending standard conditions.
Uh-oh.
You're good.
Can you hear me again? My
Yeah.
screen went full. I move to approve boundary line adjustment 2020-07 with standard conditions.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item 2E, our last boundary line adjustment today, B 2020-0008 for Marie Wenbond. Applicant is Marie Wenbond, David Leverett. Agent is Ron Franz. This is a request or a boundary line adjustment to reconfigure the boundaries between four existing lots, 6 miles northwest of Willits on the east side of Sherwood Road and its intersection with First Gate Road. So is there anyone here representing this application? Okay, EH.
We don't have any conditions whatsoever.
Transportation.
No comments.
And planning is recommending standard conditions.
I move to approve boundary line adjustment 2020-08 with standard conditions.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, so we're on agenda item 3A, which is minor subdivision, MS 2019-03 for Julia Carson. Agent is Tara Jackson, Wind Coastal Planning. The request is a coastal minor subdivision of a 4.67 acre parcel into two parcels of 2.67 and 2 acres. In the coastal zone, half a mile west of the intersection of Casper Road and Highway 1. So I've got, I received communication from the agent and the owner this week, and they're requesting that we continue this to a date uncertain while they can figure some more things out. Is there anybody here representing this application? So I guess we're just looking for a motion to continue to a date uncertain.
I move to approve minor subdivision 2019-03 to a date uncertain.
Continue, not approve.
I move to continue minor subdivision 2019-03 to a date uncertain.
Thank you. I
Sorry.
knew what you meant, I just wanted to be clear.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, okay, so then our last agenda item today is a pre-application conference. We're on agenda item 4A, PAC 2020-0003 for Debbie Taylor. This is a potential minor subdivision of a 64-acre property resulting in 4 lots and a remainder parcel. It's 0.8 miles north of Hopland on the north side of Fetties Creek Road and about half a mile north of its intersection with Mountain House Road. So, is there anybody here representing this application?
Can you unmute your mic? Thank you.
Yes, we're here.
Okay.
Hello.
What's your name?
I'm Debbie Taylor, and this is my husband, David Taylor.
Okay, great. So I know this was, the planner that was representing this project is out of the office today, so I'm not sure how much communication you've received with her. Have you received any of the handouts or the memo or anything?
No.
Nothing yet? Okay. So I guess we have a couple of options. We could go ahead and go through what we've got in the packet today, or if you want to bump this to another meeting, we can make sure that you have all those handouts. And before we get into it, it's kind of your call.
As far as, so the only people we're missing is planning?
No, planning is here. It's just that generally the planner who puts the project together is the one to represent it because they're the most familiar with it. But she's not available today. So I would be just going through the memo based on her analysis. But then I haven't looked at it as deeply as she has. And also you don't have the same materials to look at, which we would get to you at some point. But if you don't mind not having them now, we can go ahead, or if you'd like to review it before we discuss it, that's up to you.
And when would this next meeting be?
It would be the June meeting of the subdivision committee, which would be June 11th. It looks like.
So you're saying Juliana is not involved?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Did she forward the info that I sent her the other day in regards to the, I sent an email to her, and she sent you, forward that to you guys.
I don't think I have anything else.
Yeah, best wait though, because I did send her a kind of a little more of a breakdown of what the proposal is and explanations.
Okay.
Regarding the driveway and stuff like that, so she said, and I got a couple pictures there too.
Okay, did you also have a tentative map? That was one of the main things that when I was looking at it was kind of a blank spot.
Well, the idea was that everybody's telling us that we should do these pre-meetings to get everything that we need in regards to the information to pull all that stuff together, regarding the tentative map, the improvement plans, the existing driveway that goes onto the property, plus checking the well as far as gallons per minute, and so forth to that. Is there enough water to provide enough water source for the lots that we're talking about? We have met with Hopland Water, I guess, District in regards to one of the lots, which is closest to Felice Creek, and providing the city water for that. So we've met with Road, or transportation, regarding the driveway, and kind of discussed that with them, so. We've done a lot of due diligence here, but before we pull the trigger and spend a lot of money on all the tentative maps and the civil stuff, they kind of said, well, you really should have a pre-meeting to verify everything you need.
Sure.
I have a question regarding your rehab. Are you in Hopland Sanitation District?
No idea, I know we can get water, there's a water meter, that's one thing I know for sure. Everything is septic.
So the public utility district, I think, extends out there.
Because we have, I looked on the map and they were in the district map that you provide me.
Okay.
So maybe you have an option to have new connections on the Hopland Sanitation District. So I would reach out to them and see if that is possible and how much that would cost. So that would be a little bit different project, not having the septic systems on the site.
I hear you, but we're also talking a good half mile, to the first house, or not the first house.
They're not on sanitation either.
There's actually even the neighboring properties are not on sanitation.
Because on our maps it shows that your property is. So I just wanted to double check with you if you're familiar with it or not.
We can check, but we have working systems out there.
Okay.
So that was one of the things that was brought up, that we need to verify that each lot will have its own septic allowable working system and so forth to that effect. And we run into problems. Obviously, we can always do a joint system if it's necessary, or an easement from one lot to the next. We haven't got into that
details.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. On our end, we're gonna double check a little bit more for the next subdivision regarding the septic systems or the water wells. What we have on our files. To be honest, I didn't found a file for your site, so.
Did or didn't find one?
I didn't.
Yeah, we went in and asked about it and they said the same thing.
Yeah, so I'm gonna see if we can have like a maybe older septic system license back in the 70s, maybe 60s. I'm gonna check with the assessor's office to see who was the owner before in that period. That maybe, just maybe, I can find something.
Yeah, according to what there's a little bit of information we did find, there are two existing septic bills that were approved, and then there was a comment in regards to the well that was out there, but no. Nothing had been checked on it, or it's just that there was some type of information for a well.
Okay.
No monitoring.
So I had, Rowdy, you done?
Yeah.
I had one question about, so I see your proposed lot split, and I was just curious if you have any idea what the approximate parcel sizes are.
Not necessarily. It's kind of this situation where we have to divide the property where we actually have two owners on this. That when it's all said and done, it's kind of a tax thing also. That each lot, once they're split, it'll be two lots, one owner, the other two lots for another owner, and then they will both own the fifth remainder. And what it is based off the taxes, those two lots have to be 50-50. They have to be equal value in order to keep the same tax base. So stating that, one's going to be 25 acres, 23, whatever. It's a little harder to do it that way due to they each have to be equal value. So you're not gonna have an equal, property size because certain ones are gonna have structures and some are not.
We're gonna bring in an appraiser to help us draw those lines to get equal value.
Okay. So you really don't have any idea at this point what your minimum, what your, like, say lot one, that smallest one that you're proposing, what the property size of that might be?
Aren't we supposed to have a minimum of 5 acres, isn't that the case?
I don't, is that that would be the main thing, whether that's the zoning.
It says the zoning is R1, so the minimum lot size would be 1 acre.
We could do 1 acre, but we're not doing that. I mean, I think it'll be more than 1 acre because we have septic to do it too. And once that's determined where it's gonna go, we'll determine the size of that lot one. I mean, that being said, I mean, you're looking, 15, 30, I mean, we're looking at probably anywhere between 10 to 12 acres apiece, maybe plus or minus each one. But the first one obviously would be smaller. Yeah, that'll be at least 1 acre or more. Due to finding place for septic.
Okay.
So there is one thing that when I was looking at this memo yesterday, I didn't see that it had been covered, and this is the inclusionary housing fee. Have you guys discussed that at all with Juliana?
No, we have not.
So basically what that is to encourage affordable housing. If you're not, when you do a subdivision, you either have to designate some lots as affordable housing sites, or you have to pay an in lieu fee, and the fee is based on the number of vacant lots that are created with the subdivision. So when I looked at the aerial imagery, it looks like there's 2 residences out there right now. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so assuming that each one of those residences is going to have its own lot, we're looking at 3 vacant lots right now.
Here, just a second, hold on a second. We have certain issues that are out there, that the following reason why we're doing all this work is her father owned the property, and since his passing has transferred it to the 2 daughters. And we have structures out there that have been in pre-existing for years, that we need to be rectified with the building department. There are definitely 2 existing residences. But we have other, there's stuff on the front of the warehouse, there's some other buildings, some sheds and stuff like that we have to work with the building department. But the reason why we're doing all this is obviously we're separating obviously ownership, so it's easier for managing between the 2 sisters. So each has their own to deal with, and we and all that, and debate and stuff like that. So we got other issues out there, and that have to be rectified. So I'm not saying there are buildings out there that we're going to be going to the building department to get approved, or remodeled and demoed to get approved.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. Well, just for the sake of the inclusionary housing, we'll put a pin in the building part of it right now. So we're basically just counting residences. So if this subdivision went through the way it's proposed right now, you would have 2 residences on 2 separate lots and then 3 vacant lots. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So based on that,
let me clarify that. 2 lots, 1 lot, 2 lots with residences and 2 empty lots.
so you're looking for 5 lots and you've got 2 residences.
Yes, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Yes, correct.
Yeah, so 5 lots, 2 residences, so we're looking at 3 vacant lots is what would come out of this. So based on that, the inclusionary housing fee is $19,600 for those 3 lots. But depending on what your ultimate goals are, if you reduce that just by 1 lot and you only create 4 lots with 2 vacant lots, your inclusionary housing fee is only $7,800. So that makes a big difference. That can sometimes make or break a project, and it's something that you'll definitely want to factor in. It sounds like there's a lot of other background issues here that you're already having to deal with, so it might not be an option to reduce that lot, but it's something that you definitely want to be aware of.
So you're saying instead of 5 to go to 4?
I'm just saying that that's an option. So right now with the 5 lots, your inclusionary housing fee is almost $20,000. If you reduced it by 1 lot, your fee is going to be $7,800.
Okay. So that's a huge break. Yeah, I see where you're going. Thank you.
And that is very possible.
That is very possible.
Yeah.
So other than that, I didn't have a bunch of issues from the planning side. I didn't really see any red flags. Otherwise, again, this is all really tentative. There wasn't a tentative map that I saw, even a proposed parcel division. So like Amber was saying, it's hard to have more detail when we don't have, a lot block configuration and estimated parcel sizes.
There is a proposed lot split. Did you see that?
I
in the
didn't.
packet?
No. Did
It
it have?
doesn't have acreage, but it shows a layout.
Let me see what's in. Oh, okay. So I see one here. The images that I had were black and white, and I couldn't see anything on them.
It's harder to see on the printed version. I have it pulled up on the computer and it's lighter.
Okay, I see what you're talking about. So then, actually, this is probably more of a question for you, Amber. If this is just one access that's serving all 5 of these parcels, what kind of improvements are they looking at?
Yeah, so a little bit of it depends on the parcel sizes. That's why I was asking that. But essentially, you'll need a 40-foot easement to each parcel. You'll need to upgrade the existing where it turns off of Police Creek Road. There'll need to be an upgraded private road approach. And then I had a question about, it's hard to see, I haven't gone out there, and so I was just looking at it from Google Earth. Is that existing driveway, is that like a chip sealed road or is it gravel?
It's chip seal. It needs maintenance.
Yeah.
Which is what's part of the document that we printed up stating what we were going to do.
Okay.
We had actually come into transportation twice now. And
Yeah, I
that
remember.
was new.
Guys.
Discuss that driveway. So yeah, I mean, there were some things that in that little letter that I wrote that addressed that driveway. But it sounds like if we're pushing it off till June, I mean, I guess we should talk about it then.
Okay. I can, if you want to do a little bit of an idea of what I'm thinking now that I've seen a proposed parcel layout, we can always discuss it further later. So once you get past the point, I guess it depends on whether you end up going with 4 or 5 lots, but once you get past the point of the road accessing more than 4 parcels, you can go down to our minimum subdivision road standard, which is a 22-foot wide rocked road. So my initial thought is just that the stretch in between the Police Creek Road and Lot 1 would either be a 26-foot wide rocked road, or if it's currently chip sealed, you would just need to maybe do another layer of chip seal over that, or maintain that. That most likely would be up to you, option you chose. Sometimes if you already have an old chip seal, it can be cheaper just to put another layer. Some people, or you grind it up and return it to a rocked road.
It would be more cost effective to re-chip seal it. Do that, there are certain improvement in utilities along that kind of hinder ripping the hillside up and widening to 22 just to do a rock. So, chip seal layer over that would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
That's chip seal instead of white.
Instead of white, chip seal instead of white, correct?
Yeah, the chip seal would need to be, do you know how wide the existing chip seal road is?
It varies, anywhere between 16 to 18 and 20, because we're talking, it is a hill there.
Yeah.
It has been cut out already.
Okay.
If we had to go to 22, I mean, we'd end up, like I said, that we'd be ripping up the neighbors' properties and just to put in a regular rock road. That's so that, let's say, just chip sealing it, it varied from 16 to, it starts out pretty wide, I mean, almost good 40 feet when you come off of Felice Creek onto that road, and then slowly lessens as you go up the road.
Okay, so the seal standard is 18 feet, so it sounds like you could be pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. We could probably stretch it.
If there's areas where it's 16 and it's impossible to widen it, you know, if it's just short. I mean, it's only, from measuring it on Google Earth, it's only 600 feet or something from Felice Creek to where that first lot splits off. So, and then you'd need to do a turnaround at the end. So at the furthest, at somewhere around the lot line for the furthest lot, you would need to do a turnaround that would either be 40 feet 40 feet gravel radius within 50-foot easement, or a 20 by 60 hammerhead tee within a 40 by 80 easement.
Yeah, no problem there. At the very top where the divisional is going to be between all the lots, there's a kind of a branch that provides that. I mean, there's a huge diagram. No, that's not an issue. That's for the fire truck turnaround, I understand.
Okay, and so that first hill is, I think we talked about this before. Is that the steepest part, or are there other?
Coming to the property or past that? I'm sorry.
Well, so that hill looks like it's fairly steep. It's not. It doesn't look too bad, but we don't allow grades on subdivision roads over 20%. The 20% is
We're
pretty.
good. Yeah, we're fine now.
Okay.
So just because I know you and I had discussed that, so in regards to that front area, one of the questions on my little piece of paper was, since we have that existing easement coming off of Felice Creek, and I did hear some conversation earlier based off an earlier submittal, that we would require approvals from the neighbors.
For the easement?
Well, what kind of, for anything, for lot splitting or for doing is we have to get a written approval from the neighbors to do this lot split also?
No.
More of a planning question. too.
Yeah, they have to comment, but
Yeah, so
I do back.
what happens is for any project, there's everybody within 300 feet or so gets a notice. Basically, it's just an informal thing saying this is going on. If you have comments, please, submit them back to the department. But that's not permission per se. I mean, the only people that have to sign the documents are the property owners, but with an interest in it.
Well, we have the easement with the properties in front of us. Would we require to get some type of approval from them?
Not if you have an easement.
Existing easement, okay. All right.
I mean, unless, there are some easements that limit the use to certain uses or something. If it said that the easement can only be used for one parcel or something like that, that could cause some issues. But as long as you have the existing easement, it shouldn't be an issue.
Well, that actually answers that question. Okay. I don't think there's anything else that I have questions about or concerns about or information. I guess at this point, we will get a hold of Juliana or you will automatically bring us or set us up for the next meeting in June?
Well, I think, I feel like we've kind of gone through it mostly here, so I don't know that we need to continue anything. If you have some more questions, you know, feel free to reach out to any of us directly. I think I'll ask Amber and Rad to send me any materials that you would want to get to the tailors, and then I'll put all those in a packet and I'll send these out to you. Because you guys, we have maps and a memo and a bunch of code sheets and things that are all referenced for you for this project. So I'll just coordinate that through them. And then if you have any other questions that come up later, you know, just follow up with us and we'd be happy to help.
Yeah, perfect. That saves us some time and I can make some phone calls to some engineers and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and you know, this is just, it's basically just a research project, so we understand that things change as you go along, and that's really the whole purpose of this type of application. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time.
Sure thing.
Thanks, good luck.
Good.
Bye. So I need to double check if they are.
So our last item is agenda item 5, matters from staff. Do you have anything?
Nope.
Nothing?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. All right, so I'd say meeting is adjourned. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks, guys.